So an announcement video came out earlier today about the sliding issue, specifically around the use of frame counting in checking records. If you haven't seen my video about that already, it might be a good idea to go watch that to get some context for what we're about to talk about. But suffice to say, it has left the community with way more questions than answers, and generally feelings of confusion, anger, sadness. It's been quite a lot. To my mind, this is more about a lack of communication about the process that has just happened that's led them to this decision. After all, it's been 3 months since the 0.78 WR that kind of really spearheaded this conversation, got people talking about sliding, and identified some issues with some WCA guidelines that pertain to regulations. The lack of communication has left people looking for answers, and they found those answers in forum posts on the WCA website under the announcement that came out today. And from what it looks like, it seems that what we've ended up with is not the decision of the WRC, that's the WCA Regulations Committee, but rather a diluted version of that seems to have gone through the board. I'll make another video about the board's transparency and whether they're getting way outside of their remit of governance. Spoiler alert, I think they totally are. But this video is to tell you that all is not necessarily lost, and we can ask for transparency and an explanation of what has actually happened. First, okay, I'm bringing some big dad energy, like I'm someone who's been on boards. I'm not on this one. I'm not on the WCA board. I am currently on a school board. I know how they work. I kind of like how they work. And for me, in any situation like this, the first thing I do is I go look at the board's rules. And so let's take a look at a couple of those now. So these are the WCA bylaws. They are kind of very high level rules about the board and how the board works and things like that, and about how the organization works. And the one I want to draw our attention to today is this one, 2.11, special meetings. Now, a special meeting is an extra board meeting, okay? And that's important because a board meeting needs to be minuted, right? There needs to be a record of what has happened and been actioned at that board meeting, okay? So looking into that here, special meetings may be called by the chair, vice chair, or a simple majority of the board of directors. That makes sense. That's pretty standard. But in the WCA as well, a petition signed by 5% of voting members may also call a special meeting. So the board, by voting members of the WCA, can essentially be summoned for a meeting, right? Again, important because these meetings have to be minuted, so these meetings are transparent. Now, who's a voting member of the WCA? Well, hold on to your butts, Timmy, okay? Because let's have a look at that. Okay, so here we are, 2.5 individual voting members. Any individual who is currently a full delegate, committee, team leader, committee, team, senior member, or director or officer is automatically considered an individual voting member of the WCA. So, in a nutshell, delegates can force a special meeting of the WCA board. That meeting will have to be minuted, and in that meeting they can ask questions. And I would suggest that a big question that's worth asking that will really help the community understand what has happened here would be what has changed from the WRC submission to the announcement that we saw today, and why. From what I've seen on the forum and in other places is that the WRC were unanimous in their reporting, and also that they called for the removal of the 0.78 WR. Top tip, if you go to the statement page and you search Apple F, Control F, whatever, for unanimous, you will find a lot of information that seems to be coming from within the WRC. And again, we wouldn't be in this information, we wouldn't be scratching around like chickens for information if we had transparency, and we can force a meeting to ask for that transparency. As well as this question of whether the WRC suggested the removal of the 0.78 and the board overrode it, there's also some really weird additions to the announcement that the more I've thought about, the more I don't understand. And in particular, it's this one. In the frame-by-frame analysis will not be used in all other cases, including but not limited to violations of A6C and A6D. That's fully releasing the puzzle on stopping and hands flat while stopping. That's super goofy. Why would you be so specific about frame counting starts and then be very, very specific about not frame counting stops? That makes no sense to me, and I feel like that might have been something that's been tinkered with by the board, unless someone has a better reason for it. So what I'm saying in this video, there is potentially a solution. It's in the hands of our delegates. If 5% of them petition the board, then they can force a special meeting. And at that special meeting, they can ask for some transparency around what's happened happened, which will go a long way to soothing the community, which right now is looking really hurt. You just have to jump on Cubic's Friends and take a look and see what's happening in there. I think the community has a good reason to feel kind of hurt and feel kind of slighted and feel kind of suspicious about this. The lack of transparency we're seeing here is not helping your case, WCA board. And I'm talking to you as a board, not as individuals. This is not about individuals. None of this is about individuals. But this is something that has the potential to hurt not just the board's reputation, not just the WCA's reputation, but speedcubing's reputation moving forward. You know, if, like me, you want to see speedcubing grow and you want to see it taken a bit more seriously and sort of step up in that way it's presented to people, then I think this is important. And I think the community deserves a little bit more clarity here. And I think the committees under the WCA board need some clarity here as well as to whether their delegated power is actually power or if it can just be taken away by the board. I don't know. This doesn't seem right. Anyway, that's about the end of my cool story. I'm gonna go. Remember, have fun, be nice, solve cubes. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you want to see more. I stream once a week and I release videos pretty much every day. Also use code CUBECAST to save 5% at speedcubeshop.com, Cubing Life Academy, speedcube.nz, lastlayercubing.com. Have fun, solve cubes, and I'll catch you in the next one.